Hey, the show is called Fishing and Hunting Texas, and if you're really gonna be fishing and hunting Texas, you gotta do something besides just fresh water. You gotta get, I mean, think about how many miles of coastline are in the state of Texas, and so I just love the thought of getting out there and doing some saltwater fishing. You know, one real great thing about this trip is we were trying a new boat that Ranger's just come out. It's a saltwater aluminum RP 190, and let me tell you something, that boat performed incredibly well. If you haven't heard of that boat right there, it's an aluminum saltwater boat, center console, set up extremely well. Got an ice chest in the front for a seat, it holds 5 people. The thing that impressed me probably the very most is how shallow it would draft. It drafted so shallow, I mean, we could just get in water that I never expected to be able to get into. With this boat, we could actually move along and see fish really well. When we had the opportunity to fish saltwater, the first place that really came to my mind was Matagorda. I grew up going to Matagorda, going to the beach, spending a family vacation there once, maybe twice a year. And I just love that area. I love the community. You know, it's not a real crowded beach. It's a beach that's, you know, doesn't have a whole lot of people on it. It's got dunes that are, you know, really cool and pristine. It's got not a whole lot of houses, but one thing it has for me is just a lot of memories. When we first got out there, really what we started doing is just getting out there and searching. And, you know, as time went on, we, to be honest with you, just like any fisherman, I felt pretty lost. You know, I had tried several things. I wasn't catching any fish. I got up shallow and found some kind of shallow grass and went along, caught a small red or two, ended up catching a nice flounder. But as we went along, I was thinking, you know, this just isn't gonna work. And so we ended up working our way way back in this shallow backwater. And what we got today is we got a hard east wind. We weren't counting on it. A few storms around, and for some reason the east wind has come in, and it's just, we kind of got a blowout tide or just a really extreme high tide. And so we're back where normally you couldn't even get a boat to. And one thing I've learned about redfish in the times I've spent fishing for them in Venice, on the Texas coast, wading a lot is you get these really high tides, they want to go really shallow. And so we're back as shallow as we can get. And we get back and we start getting some bites. And so, you know, caught a nice trout, caught, you know, a couple redfish. And then as we're going along, I look up and I see some tails, but they're in another little lake. They're on, you know, it's a long way for me to get to where that lake actually was. And so we're right on the edge of that little grass thing, and I make a long cast and bam, I get a bite. Well, the only problem is I've got it on a swim bait. I've got it on just 15-pound fluorocarbon, and there's a huge swath of grass between me and it. I'm gonna have to get out of the boat. So I'm like, what do? I fought him all the way up to the grass, and I finally just jump out and go over there and get him. So literally, this fish hits on the other side of the deal, and I gotta go in. I grab him, I bring him over to the boat, and I mean, it was a beautiful fish, 23-inch red, 22. You know, that fish kind of set the stage, because when you see one tailing, I've always loved sight fishing. I want to be able to see those fish. And when you see one tailing, I mean, that's really as good as it gets in red fishing. Oh, that's fun. That is fun right there. Perfect eating size right there. We're gonna stick him in there and catch another one. That was incredible. I don't even have braided line on that setup because I had a swim bait on it, so all I got is fluorocarbon. I can see them out there. They're tailing everywhere in that lake. I don't even know how to get into it. The mud is there's too much mud. I don't even think I can wade in there, so somehow I'm gonna figure out how to get my boat in there. We're gonna catch some more.